Hey Internet, Eric here. Anyone who knows me real well knows that my favorite horror movie of all time is Pet Sematary from 1989. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and my favorite novel is Pet Sematary. So today, I just saw it last night. Today I'm going to discuss the 2019 version of Pet Sematary. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I do discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, and since this literally came out this weekend, there will be some spoilers. I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible, but I cannot promise that, so please watch at your own risk. I'm also, please take note, I'm also going to assume that if you're watching this, you have either seen the film or you have at least seen the trailers, because there's going to be some major spoilers concerning the plot. So if you haven't done either of those, do so, or don't whine to me about me spoiling something. This is directed by Kevin Cloche and Dennis Widmeyer. Don't know who they are, but I heard they directed something called Starry Night, which is really good. Anyways, if you basic plot is, if you don't know what Pet Sematary is, first off, I reviewed the first film. Or the original film. I reviewed its sequel. I reviewed a documentary about the making of the film, the original film. So I'll still go through the basic plot though. We are following the Creed family: Lewis, Rachel, the husband and wife, daughter Ellie, toddler Gage, and their pet cat Church. They've just moved to Ludlow, Maine. Lewis is the doctor at the university, and as they are settling in, they learn of this pet cemetery, which is a cemetery that the kids in town have created to bury their pets that have been killed in the road by them damn trucks. The Orinco trucks, that the 18-wheelers that just whiz by. They meet Judd Crandall. He is the old timer from town, and eventually Ellie's cat Church is struck by a truck and killed. And rather than tell Ellie what happened, Judd and Lewis are going to bury the cat in the pet cemetery, and Lewis is going to say the cat ran away. Judd takes him to a secret place, which is a Native American burial ground, where he doesn't tell Lewis, but if you bury something there, it comes back to life. And Church comes back to life all right, but he is now definitely evil. Now, here comes the spoiler part again. One of Lewis's children is struck by a truck and killed. Lewis then buries the child in the pet cemetery. The child comes back, and then Lewis and Judd and everyone else has to deal with it. All right. Like I said, hopefully you have seen the movie or read the book. If you haven't, oh well. Now, first off, I was going in with high expectations because, again, I love the original. I love the novel. I left this theater really, really happy. And I'll tell you why. First off, we'll get to the performances. First off, Jason Clarke plays Lewis. I don't know how long this video is going to be, so I'm going to try not to make it too terribly long. I mean, my original review was like 30 minutes on the original. We're going to talk Jason Clarke. Jason Clarke plays Lewis. I only know Jason Clarke, honestly, from Terminator Genesis. I don't remember how much I enjoyed him there, but here I really, really like him. I like his... first off, I like his relationships with all the other characters, even some that are really, really short. I love him as the father figure, the loving father figure of Ellie, of Gage. I love his relationship with Rachel. They do seem like a loving couple. I can't get my iPad to work to bring up the cast list, but we'll say the actress who plays Rachel, I think, does a really, really good job here too. But Jason Clarke's performance is really good, like I said, as the loving father, and then as the grieving father as well. I thought his relationship with Ellie, spoilers, if, like I said, you've seen the trailer, Ellie is the one that dies. His relationship with Ellie after she comes back is also, he's happy she comes back. I love how he looks when she finally comes back and he gives her that hug. But then he also has some facial expressions that are great. There's a scene where um, Ellie's, she's alive again. They're, she asks Lewis to lay with her in bed, and she rolls over and she cuddles him and says, "I love you, Daddy." And Jason Clarke gives this look of, "What have I done? What have I got myself into?" It's very brief, but you notice it, and it's great. And then by the end of this film, you can tell how he's trying to keep this a secret from people. Judd catches him in a couple lies, and by the end of it, you can tell how his descent into madness is getting there. Also, because Jason Clarke has this wonderfully, it's a weird thing to say, but he's got this wonderfully shaped face where light catches it perfectly. Fire, the reflection of fire catches it perfectly. And his eyes are already somewhat shrunken. So when he, by the end of the film, when he's got the dark circles and the bags under his eyes, you believe this man is crazy. So Jason Clarke does really well. Let's see. I can't, like I said, I can't punch up the cast list. I don't know. The woman who plays Rachel, really, really like her as well. Again, fantastic chemistry with Jason Clarke. As little as it is, like the flirting that they have, the grieving that they do together. She's really well. And then there's a side story that, if you don't know, with Rachel has a problem with death, and the reason she has a problem with death is due to the fact that when she was very young, she had an older sister named Zelda who suffered from spinal meningitis, and which means her back was twisted up, and her arms and her feet. She looked like a monster, and Rachel was in charge of feeding her. And one day, while her parents were out, Zelda died under her care, and it's fucked with Rachel ever since, and she's been mortified of the subject of death. And she still has these nightmares and stuff. And anybody could have made these, when she's having these like daydreams or whatever you would call them of Zelda, these not really visions, but daydreams, nightmares, what have you. People could have gone over the top corny. I believed her. I believed her fear. I believed a lot of it. It wasn't done poorly. I loved watching her grieve for Ellie after she died. I really liked this actress. I'm sorry I can't, my iPad's fucking up and I can't tell her name, but really loved her. Judd Crandall, played by the excellent John Lithgow. I loved him as well. He's not in it, again, he's not in it as much as I wanted, but what we get, he's the one that meets, Ellie's the one that's going to climb over the deadfall to get to the Indian burial ground. And when we first meet Judd, she falls down, she gets stung by a bee, and he's there. He comes off to me like this old grandpa, like he could be your grandpa. He since that moment he kind of looks over Ellie, tries to protect her, and he, I think, has a good relationship with Ellie. I mean, eventually as time goes by, she's bringing over cookies that she's baked for him. He's there at her birthday party. He talks about how you can tell he genuinely cares for this kid because he's a widower here and he's lived in the house by himself for God knows how long, and he's finally got some love in his life. And then I love the scenes where he is talking to Lewis, and one of my favorite scenes is the campfire scene, or not a campfire scene, but bonfire scene, and it's after Judd is telling Lewis, how he feels responsible for Ellie's death because, we get into some backstory, which I'll get into. And one of my favorite lines is between Jason Clarke and John Lithgow, and John says, "I never should have introduced you to that place." And then Jason Clarke says, "But you did." And like that performance with Jason Clarke, really well done. And again, Lithgow is great. Lithgow is always great. I said he's very loving in some scenes, and I believe his torment. I love, like, during Ellie's funeral when Judd is there, you see the torment, you see the pain in his face, and then he just gives a subtle look at Lewis, like, I know what you're thinking of doing, and that's just how good Lithgow is. I do wish we had more. Last performance I'm going to talk about is Jete Lawrence, who plays Ellie Creed. And again, she's got this great daughter relationship with Jason Clarke. She's got this. She's a daddy's girl. She loves her father so much, so they have that good relationship. Um, she does well when she's alive, but I love when she comes back resurrected, and I love how she knows that she's dead. She remembers. Sadly, it's her fucking birthday party when she gets hit by the truck. She remembers that, and then she says it all went black, and then now I'm here, and then she's like, I'm dead, aren't I? And these subtle, like little slow whispers and this and that, like just she comes off really, really fucking creepy, and I love that. It's not over the top. It's just so subtle. And then eventually, when she goes full crazy mode, it's believable, I guess, if that's the right word. Um, she is full on scary when she's in attack mode. It kind of reminded me of the girl from Logan. You know, you believed someone even though she's this young is dangerous. And I liked her performance. I liked her menacing performance when she's after Rachel, when she's after Lewis, when her and Lewis are having this final confrontation. Great performance by Jete Lawrence. So, performance is fantastic. The gore. There is not a lot of scenes of gore, but when we get the gore, it's really good. We get the Achilles tendon scene. I mean, I love how we get a little tease of what you think's going to happen because how it happened in the original, and then that's a great fake out. But then when it happens, we get it, and we get it good, and it made me wince in the movie theater. So we get some good gore there. When we see Victor Pascal is a student who's hit by a car, and Lewis fails reviving him. And the gore on him is great. We got some exposed brain in the back. We got some blood and this and that. Some of it's subtle, but the exposed brain is great. And he's got some damage to his face here. So gore, really, really good. Let's see. What else do I like? The score can be very creepy in parts, like when they're walking from the actual child pet cemetery to the Indian burial ground. I like how we get to see more of what they have to go through. They go up this giant mountain. They go through a swamp. They go through. I just like the travel. Let's see here. What else? We get mention of the Wendigo. The Wendigo is a major part of this book. The Wendigo is this folklore creature that you can do research on it. It's actually in part of folklore, but it's what's made the ground sour. To throw the term in there from the book. It's what made the ground bad. Where you bury the dead, they come back evil. I like how even though we don't see the Wendigo, we know it's there. Because we hear it, we hear noises, we hear rustling, we hear trees, branches breaking when they're making their track to the actual burial ground. I don't know if there's whispers to it, but I just love that, and especially in a theater, like if you're Lewis and Judd, you're being watched, something's out there. Judd knows exactly what the fuck it is, and you can see in Lithgow's face how he's terrified. So love how they threw the Wendigo character from the book into the movie. I like the opening scene. I like how it's an opening shot of above the trees of the forest, and then we get to see some foreshadowing of what has happened, and then it cuts to it's got intense music and this and that, and then we cut to this wonderful use of classical piano music, and then the family driving. I just love that scene. Let's talk about Zelda. Zelda is used really well here. She's used in little bits, but I think those scenes of Zelda are still super creepy. They're not as in your face creepy as the original was, but it's used well here. I love how disgusting and dirty they made her look, but they didn't really make her look. She didn't look like a skeletal dude in a wig like from the original one. Um, she did look like a person who is suffering and just full of pain and agony and hate for the situation. Um, there is, and then this use of Zelda. There's a scene which I won't spoil, where Rachel's final like hallucination of Zelda is fantastic. I love that idea, and I love how they give Rachel a little bit more reason to blame herself for Zelda's death, and I'll leave it at that. So, Zelda characters worked well. What else could I say? The creep factor is really well. I'll just say the bathtub scene, when Ellie's back and Lewis is giving her a bath. That was really well done. The look of Ellie, her face isn't completely normal. Um, the staples in the back of the head, I love that. Church, love Church in this. The cat. When he has come back, there's something fucked up about this cat. This cat has evil intentions. Um, Whatever they may be. The cat has a great mangy look. He looks like he's been through hell, and you could tell this fucker is not nice. Really liked it. So, and you know what? We'll just say I love the ending a lot. I know a lot of people didn't. A friend of mine, Jess, who I was talking to just today, didn't like the ending because she thought it was mean. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want this spoiled, but I absolutely loved it. I liked how it went there. I like how there's also more interpretation of what happened after it cuts to black. Um, Again, I personally really love the ending. Um, the fight between there's so much that has improved on the original with Ellie, because a lot of people hate the fact that it's now Ellie. Um, I like it because the fight is more believable between her and Lewis at the end. Even though she's still 9 years old, you know what? My daughter is gonna turn 7. When them kids can overpower, when them kids get pissed off, and of course there's a supernatural element here, but a lot stronger, a lot more dangerous than a little 2-year-old. And then there is one final praise I'm gonna give this. It's a scene in the book that I absolutely loved, and I thought it was creepy as hell. All I'm gonna do is it's during the confrontation with, in the book it's Gage, obviously in the movie it's Ellie. It's the final confrontation between, I'll just say, the resurrected kid and Judd, and it's the Norma scene, and it's more believable with someone Ellie's age than it would have been a 2-year-old kid. I'm glad they put that in the book. I'm glad it was just like shit. They went there. It was great. Love that. Now, is it a perfect movie? Even though I really really enjoyed it, no. Problems I have with this, like my friend Jess mentioned, and a couple other buddies of mine, like my buddy Jared mentioned, it does feel a little rushed. I wanted more growth with the relationships between the Creeds and Judd. I wanted more than just he's invited over for dinner, and then suddenly it's Halloween, the cat's dead, and then now it's Ellie's birthday party, and Judd is he's part of the family, but it's just there wasn't a lot there. The relationship with Lewis and Judd, because in the book and in the original movie, you can tell there was a bond there. Like in the book, it's even more. It's more of like a father-son bond. Here, there really isn't a bond at all. Judd's like Lewis's drinking buddy, maybe, and that's about it. So, I wish they could have built upon that a little bit more. Maybe if they added another 5 to 10 minutes of that, I would have really liked that. I wish they used Pascal more. I really do. Probably because I did like the character so much in the novel and so much in the book. Or I just fucking said that. In the original movie. Here, it's very brief. I wish there was a little bit more of him saying, don't do that. More warnings. And just why he's here to help. So I wanted more of that. I didn't mind. A lot of people are complaining that there is no Timmy Baterman. But there is a reference to him. Pay attention. My buddy Jared missed that, and he was the one that was upset that there was no Timmy Baterman. But there is a mention of Timmy. Um, Other things are maybe nitpicking. I'm not a big fan of the Pet Sematary cover of the Ramones song at the end. But that's just me and musical taste. Um, what else didn't I like? Not much. Um, like I said, it did feel rushed. I wished we had more Pascal. I do wish we had more Judd, um, especially relationship wise. Um, but other than that, I really really enjoyed this. The creepy tone is great. I love Jason Clarke here. So good. Well, the performances all around are pretty damn good. Um, the tone is still creepy. The creepy scenes work. Like I said, that bathtub scene, the Zelda scenes, like the tension builds up with Zelda. I'm not gonna lie, one of the Zelda scares did get me. I knew it was coming, and it was the damn jump scare with the dumbwaiter. Got me. Not gonna lie, but it was a fun jump scare. It was one of those. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's here, and damn it, it still got me. So overall, I highly enjoyed Pet Sematary from 2019. Like I said, great performances all around. Church was creepy as hell. Love the ending, even though a lot of people don't. Like the score. I like just the feel of it. I like so much of this film. And then that third act is just fantastic, which I won't spoil, but I love that whole third act. Um, oh, let's talk about, because everyone's wondering about these kids in the masks. They're hardly in the film, not really important at all, so don't worry. The trailer kind of throws you off with that. But I'm glad the Wendigo is mentioned and thrown in there. The Norma scene, I was happy. That's one of my favorite scenes in the book. But in the end, highly, highly recommend Pet Sematary 2019. Do I like it as much as the original? Like I said, the original is my favorite horror movie of all time. I don't think so. But I really, really enjoyed this one a lot. And I think I like a lot of me loving the original movie is the fact that I also love the book so much and just a lot of nostalgia for me. But I still say that this year's Pet Sematary, this interpretation is still so good on so many levels. My dislikes are very minimal and very sometimes nitpicky. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, click the bell, whatever. Tell me in the comments below if you agree with me, if you're one of the people that don't like this movie because for the many reasons I've discussed offline or off YouTube or whatever. Feel free to tell me why. Yeah. Stuff in the background. Sorry. Like and subscribe. Comment below. Tell your friends. Whatever. Don't tell anybody. I will say. Like I said, highly recommend this. Cheers, and sometimes dead is better.